progress.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Bhagavad Gita, continuing chapter number 15 of Bhagavad Gita as it is, text number 16. Dvaim bhav purushau loke ksharashchakshara eva cha ksharaha sarvani bhutani kutastho akshara uchyate. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. And in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are continuing with chapter number 15, and as we can see today's verse, Krishna is giving knowledge to Arjuna about people in material world that are fallible and in the spiritual world infallible. What does it mean, infallible? That means someone who does not make any mistakes. Have we made mistakes? I'm sure we did. Have we made the same mistakes over and over again? Yes. Infallible means no mistakes and never wrong. Have we been wrong in our lives? Yes, we have. Will we continue to be wrong? Will we continue to make mistakes? Yes, that's a great possibility. So today we're going to learn from Krishna how one can become infallible. Now he has given us a hint in this verse that if we want to become infallible, we will need to go to the spiritual world, because to enter the spiritual world, we need a spiritual body. We have to give up this material body and get a spiritual body, qualify ourselves to go to the spiritual world where there will be no mistakes and we will never be wrong. Now last Sunday we learned a lot about the Super Soul, the Supreme Lord Krishna situated in our hearts as the Super Soul. He said, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanidishto mataha smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarver aham eva vedayo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. Krishna says, I am situated in everyone's heart. Everyone means not just human beings, but all living entities. It doesn't matter whether they are animals, aquatics, birds, insects, human beings. It does not matter. He is situated in everyone's heart, and he says, from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Then he says, I am the compiler of the Vedas, and I am to be known from the Vedas. So the purpose of studying the Vedas, what is Bhagavad Gita? It is the essence of the Vedic scriptures. So what is the purpose of understanding Bhagavad Gita? Is to understand Krishna, to know him. He is in the heart. He is there witnessing everything that we do. He is guiding us, but based on our desires. Say, I would want to take more knowledge about Bhagavad Gita. Krishna from within the heart will help me and guide me. But if I decide I want to forget, then he's going to also guide me and take me on the path that will make me forget Krishna. In fact, the scriptures, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the summary of the Vedas, you see the books at the back. So there it is mentioned that Krishna appeared as Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is an incarnation of Krishna who came down to compile the Vedic literature. And here we are so fortunate, we are getting the essence of the Vedic literature where Krishna is teaching us, is talking about fallible and infallible. Now, we've heard from the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, excuse me, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Amsha, Mamai Amsha, which means we are parts of Krishna. He says, you all are my parts, and Sanatana, you all are eternal, because for the spirit soul there is neither birth nor death. So we, being parts of the Lord, we are spiritual in nature, but because we are in the material world, we get contaminated, and that is why we become fallible. We get attached to material things, possessions, and then there is no connection with Krishna. When we reconnect with Krishna, that is when we will become infallible, which means no mistakes and not doing anything wrong. See, the Vedas, the scriptures, Vedic scriptures, they are giving us so much knowledge. They are even telling us, even in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Dukhalayam ashashvatam, that this material world is a place of misery and it is temporary, and we are struggling. Karshati, Krishna uses the word karshati. We are struggling in this material world with our mind, with our senses. Anyone here who can say, I have controlled my mind, my senses are under control? Very rarely we'll find such great personalities, such saintly people who have controlled their mind, who have controlled their senses. You see, because we are in this material world, we get contaminated, and then we become conditioned also. And what is that conditioning? I am this body. We start thinking that this body is all in all. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be there permanently. No. So that conditioning needs to be removed. See, this body itself is changing. I don't look like that I look like when I was 5 years old. My body is totally different because so many changes have taken place, right? So this body is changing, matter is changing, but in the spiritual world, there is no change. Why? Because we have spiritual body over there. What happens to this material body? It goes through 6 changes. You see, it is born, then it starts growing, then it stays for some time, then it reproduces like children, then dwindles, old age, and then vanishes, which is death. You see? So the body is changing, but Krishna says the spirit soul in the heart remains the same. It is eternal. When death strikes, the soul from the body leaves and goes either to next body based on our past karma, our actions, or it takes on a spiritual body and goes back to the spiritual world. So Bhagavad Gita is teaching us how to become infallible, how to spiritualize our mind, our senses, our body, how to do that. You see, this is the whole process of Krishna consciousness. And the first step is to understand every action has a reaction, karma. Until and unless we understand what is karma, how does it work, how to become karma free, how to break this chain of karma. You see, karma is, you can say, a cosmic law of action and reaction. And under the control of karma, our actions, we reap the benefits, either good or bad. And these are all based on our actions. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is guiding us on how to perform our activities. Yagnarthat karmano nyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha. Krishna says work, whatever actions we perform, should be done as a sacrifice unto him, which means first of all we understand what is to be done and what is not to be done. Just like when we make food choices, right? What we want to eat, we try to make sure we understand what is good for the body and what is not. What is going to give us nutrition and what is junk food. We understand that based on knowledge. So we apply that knowledge and make the right decision. So based on our actions, we get the next body. So karma actually is the cause or effect of our thoughts, which turn into actions. So this whole system of action and reaction is called law of karma. We have heard that very famous saying that do unto others as you would have them do to you. Does that make sense? If we want others to respect us, then first of all, we need to give them respect, right? If we want others to be honest with us, we first need to be honest with others. So it's like what goes around comes around, right? This is a common ways of actually talking about karma. You see, what goes around comes around. Do unto others what we want them to do unto us, you see. So that means, according to the Bhagavad Gita, that we need to improve the quality of our present life. We need to contemplate on all the actions that we perform. Are we doing actions that are giving us reactions, or are we doing actions that bring about no karma at all, neither good nor bad, you see? So to do that, we need to train ourselves with the help of knowledge under the guidance of a spiritual teacher and understand what are good actions, what are bad actions, because our actions will determine our future. So those who are wise people, they take on the knowledge and understand it and live their lives in a karma-free way. Because chapter 3 and chapter 5 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has given us enough knowledge to understand that actions in this life, we are actually placing an order for our next life. What kind of body do we want? Now, karmic reactions, how do we understand? They include, health, wealth, intelligence, physical appearance, social status, our personality, our nature. All these are all come together as a result of our past actions. Why is it that two children born on the same day at the same time in the same hospital, one is born rich, another is born poor, one is born with, perfect body, another is born with disability? Why? It is because of our past actions, you see. It's a result of our past actions, which is karma. So whatever we are enjoying now in this life, which is very little, and whatever we are suffering in this life, which is a lot, is based on our past actions. We're just reaping the fruits of our past actions. Just like they say, when supposing I am sowing seeds of lemon, but I'm expecting mangoes, is that going to happen? No. Because I have sown lemon seeds, I am going to get lemons from that tree. But if I want mangoes, then I need to sow the seeds of mangoes. So law of karma, it begins to act when we want to enjoy. How? Separate from Krishna. We don't have Krishna in our lives. We are trying to enjoy, separate from him. And that mentality, that consciousness, it kind of locks us in this endless cycle of birth and disease and death. Birth, disease, old age, and death. This is called a chakra. It's a cycle. because every action is giving a reaction, and we go on taking new different material bodies, based on our actions. And new body means new miseries. Have you ever seen any child come out laughing? No, because staying in the womb for 9 months in that position is miserable. Right from birth, there is misery. As a child grows, especially the little ones, who cannot talk, who cannot express themselves, like for instance, when the baby is crying, the mother is just doing some guesswork. Oh, maybe the child is hungry. Oh, maybe, I need to change the diaper or something. Or maybe the child is feeling hot. But it's possible it's neither of them. Maybe there's another problem in the child's body which the child is not able to express because has not yet learned to talk. So misery starts right from birth, and as we start growing, then we face different diseases and, old age. Old age is not fun at all. And then death, you see. So new body means new miseries. So those who are intelligent and wise, they want to break this cycle of birth and death. How? By first of all taking on knowledge, not just any knowledge, but bona fide knowledge. When we take on bona fide knowledge, then we understand how karma works. Then we understand how to get rid of all past reactions. Wouldn't it be nice if someone came to us and say, hey, if you follow this process, no more disease, no more misery, no more rebirth, you see, no more old age. We would be like, yoo-hoo, that's what we want. We want that. Everybody wants that. But Bhagavad Gita is showing us the way, the process, is giving us directions and assuring us that if we follow the Bhagavad Gita, there will be no more reactions. In fact, in the 18th chapter, we will learn verse 66. Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityagya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva pape bhyo moksha ishyami ma suchaha. He says, just surrender unto me. And what will be the result? He will clear out all our past karma. No more sinful reactions. No more past karma. That means karma becomes zero. No more. But for that, we need to surrender. Surrender to Krishna. Now, surrender is a very heavy word. It's very, very heavy. That means we need to follow the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. We need to do some practicals. Now, this is theory that we are hearing, but then we need to put it into practice, which is practicals. And the first step is mantra meditation. We chant the holy names of the Lord. This is how we will start surrendering to Krishna. And then our whole body, our senses, our mind, the consciousness will change. Everything will become spiritualized. You see, when everything becomes spiritualized, then even though there will be misery, it will not affect us. Like last Sunday, I was talking about a lotus flower. The lotus flower is growing in a dirty pond, but that dirt does not affect the lotus flower because the petals have a wax on its, a covering of wax on its petals. So nothing stays on it. It just glides down. Even a drop of water, it'll just glide down. This is how we need to become, like a lotus flower. And that wax covering, I'm not saying take some wax and put on your body, but that wax covering is changing our consciousness. When we change our consciousness and start becoming more spiritual, taking on knowledge and putting it into practice, then miseries will come, but they will not touch us. They will not affect us. You see, this is what Krishna promises in the 18th chapter, which is a summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. Now for that, we need to train ourselves. Train into what? Train to understand that we need to control our senses. Neither drink too much, nor little. Now, when I'm talking about drinking, I'm talking about water. I'm not talking about alcohol. You see, we have seen, or at least we have heard, those who drink too much alcohol, they get drunk, and then they don't know what's going on, what is happening. Because their mind shuts down because of the effect of the alcohol. So here Krishna wants us to control our senses, not eat too much, not eat too little, not sleep too much, not sleep too little, like that. See? Just like if we perform pious activities, right? And so then what will happen? We will get the good result of those pious activities. If we perform sinful activities, then we'll get the bad results of those activities. So Bhagavad Gita is teaching us what are the activities that are allowed and what are not allowed, which means forbidden. Because actions, they are the ones who determine our future. You see? So the actions that we perform should be based on knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita, those which are beneficial and those that will free us from karma. So it's in our hands what kind of future do we want. You see, there are different kinds of karma. There is instant karma, there's delayed karma, there's mass karma, there's karma in the seed form, there is karma that is fructified. You see? But to understand all that, we need to understand the basic foundational knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And that basic knowledge is, I am not this body, but I am a spirit soul. You see, the spirit soul is the real self. And the spirit soul does not come under karmic laws. Karma doesn't affect the soul. You see, whatever good or bad reactions that we face based on our past karma are faced by the body only. You see, and it is, so we should not get stuck in these karmic reactions, we should not. And Bhagavad Gita is showing us how to become free. You see, what happens in this material world, Krishna told us in chapter 3 itself, Prakriti kriyamanani gune karmani sarvacha ahankar vimhudatma kartahamiti manyate. See, the spirit soul, because of ahankar, false ego, pride, you see, thinks that I am the doer, I am the controller, everything is under my control. No. The soul is bewildered by the influence of this consciousness, false ego, thinking I am doing everything. But Krishna says it's the modes of material nature that are doing everything. Mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. That is why in chapter 14 we learned how to transcend the three modes and come to the mode of pure goodness. So, first of all, we need to identify that if we are, under the influence of false ego, are we proud that I am the doer? Because in chapter 2, Krishna says, Karmani vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, right? That you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, not the duty that we think is my duty. In general, people think, oh, my duty is to get good education, good job, a nice spouse, children, house, good bank balance, and I'm done. No? That is our idea of duty. But Krishna makes it very clear. Prescribed duty. Something that is prescribed by a spiritual teacher. So Krishna says we have a right to perform our prescribed duty, but we are not entitled to the fruits of our activities. And he says, never consider yourself to be the cause of results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So there are different kinds of duties. There's prescribed duty, there's capricious work, there's inaction, right? So what are prescribed actions? Prescribed actions are those that are enjoined based on the modes that we have acquired. Capricious is those which are not sanctioned by authority. And inaction is not doing our prescribed duty, right? When we get some disease, where do we go? We go to the doctor who gives a prescription to cure the disease. Similarly, we need a spiritual doctor, someone who can guide us on what is my prescribed duty. And when we perform our prescribed duty, we should not be attached to the result of our activities. See, if we are attached to the result, that will lead to reaction. Then again, we come into the cycle of karma. So the idea is to perform a karma, which means karma-free actions. And for that, we first need to understand, who am I, right? We are the spirit soul which is encaged in the material body. And this material body is, it's temporary. And this material world is temporary. It's not our original home. Our original home is the spiritual world. And according to this verse, Krishna says that only when we get a spiritual body and come to the spiritual world that we become infallible. That means not doing anything wrong and making no mistakes. See? That is our original home, the spiritual world. In fact, in chapter 8 of the Bhagavad Gita, we learned where Krishna says, Brahma bhuvana loka punar avartino Arjuna. That even if one goes to the highest material planet, which is Brahma loka, one has to come back. Why? Because all places in the material world are places of misery. So an intelligent person will think, why do I want to go through this cycle over and over again? When I have an opportunity to make my own destiny, I have an opportunity to choose my future, then why not act in a spiritual way, follow the Bhagavad Gita, follow all the laws of Krishna given in the Bhagavad Gita, then there is no danger. There is no danger of fall down. There's no danger of coming back into this material world. So what do we learn from all this? That it's important to understand how karma works, because our actions are giving us reactions. But Krishna also in the 4th chapter tells us that the intricacies of karma are very difficult to understand. That means karma is very complicated. You see, many times people ask me, what wrong did I do? In which birth did I do wrong? Why am I suffering? Well, Krishna himself says it is very difficult to understand karma. And that is why it's important to take on the knowledge from Bhagavad Gita and understand what is action, what is forbidden action, and what is inaction. Yes, karma is complicated. We cannot understand what wrong did I do in my previous life or in this life or whatever. We cannot understand why am I suffering. But Bhagavad Gita confirms that we can become free from all our past reactions. You see, no more reactions. For that, we need to understand Bhagavad Gita systematically. That is why every Sunday we have a class at 8 in the morning Eastern Standard Time where we can go chapter by chapter, verse by verse, and understand what is beneficial for us. So systematic study of Bhagavad Gita will enlighten us. It'll change our consciousness. It'll make us understand the purpose of human form of life. So in the very next verse, today I'm going to do only 16 and 17. In the verse number 17, Krishna says, besides fallible and infallible, there is a greatest living personality, which is the super soul in the heart. It is the imperishable Lord who is the maintainer. So Krishna is giving us knowledge to help us understand that he is situated in the heart as a super soul of every living entity, and he is the maintainer. You see, he's present in all, which means it doesn't matter whether one is conditioned or one is liberated, it doesn't matter. He is situated in everyone's heart. He is giving us the facility. He is fulfilling our desires, you see. So if we really want to make best use of this human form of life, then the best thing is to liberate ourselves from this conditioning that I am this body. So he's giving us the facilities. He's helping us understand. He's actually helping us to understand him. And when we understand Krishna, we will attain permanent peace, which means peace that has no beginning and no end. It is there permanently. So the question is it possible to become infallible? Yes, but in the spiritual world. That is the thing. And the first step towards understanding Bhagavad Gita is to do some practical. And the practical is mantra meditation, which means we chant the holy names of the Lord so that we can purify ourselves. So that is what can help us in changing our consciousness. This is what helps us in changing our consciousness. So it's my humble request that you all please chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So I'm going to end now. Now I'm actually leaving for India tonight, but I will do the Sunday classes. I'll give the Sunday morning classes from there as well. Of course, it'll be evening over there, but I will. But unless, of course, there's a health reason, I may not give the class, but I will put the messages in the WhatsApp group and let you all know. So thank you all so much for joining.